Yes.
Thank you, Wes. That sounds really good being in here in person.
I know.
With you. It sounds really great. Brenda, you can take the slides down. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Reverend Sandra, and I'm here at our Triumph Life Center in Brooklyn for the first time live since March of 2020.
Oh my God. Whoa.
What a journey. What a journey. I'm here with Wesley, and Senior Bishop is here with us, and just feeling the energy in here and reflecting on the times we've had together here is just so overwhelming almost. We still have to do some things to try to get the center ready for to open completely, which we hope to do within the next couple of weeks. But I am just overjoyed, excited, and so grateful to be here this morning. So we're broadcasting live via Zoom. Our team is here. I saw Nadia, Brenda. For those that are joining us via social media, welcome. Thank you for joining in with us. And share this. Let someone know that we're here. We're on Zoom, we're on social media, and we're live in person at 1037 East 92nd Street. So today is September 25th. It's the last Sunday in this month, and it's officially fall. Fall came in this week, like Wednesday or Thursday, and I woke up that morning and like, oh, I need the heat on. It was so cool. So yeah, the seasons changed quickly, and we're in another season of the year as we move towards the end of 2022. But we've been dealing with this theme of change since we came back after our sabbatical, framing it differently, but we're still going to be talking about that even today, this idea, how life's transitions and changes and seasons come and go. So as we get started, just how's everyone? Wes, so good to see you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I know you are here. You were performing this weekend.
I was performing yesterday at the Brooklyn Botanical Garden.
Oh, that's awesome.
It
That's awesome.
It was like a wedding. It was very nice. People, enjoying, being happy,
Yes.
getting their families.
Yeah, weddings are usually such great energy. Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
is happy. You don't know about the marriage afterwards, but the wedding at least is
At
usually
least we hope for that.
hope for the marriage. Hope and blessings for them in their life
Exactly.
together. So how about you guys? Brenda, Nadia, how's everything going? How was your week? Anything new, exciting, different?
I worked yesterday for like an
Ah,
event. Yeah,
ah. Well, that was a good thing, or that was
both.
both.
Yeah, I think I just need to stop being a workaholic. I think that's what it is.
Being over.
Huh?
Say that again, Nadia. Being over.
Just stop being a workaholic.
A workaholic. Oh, I can relate.
Yeah, I am like that, and I love it. But I know, yeah, sometimes not. Sometimes it's not so healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes, well, you're still young and you don't have your kids pulling at you yet. But it's like an addiction. You get into it and you can't stop. You know, the more you do, the more you want to do, and then you're earning money and you can get caught up in a spiral. So yeah, as long as you're trying to balance things out, which I think knowing your energy, Nadia, I don't think you go, I'm just guessing from knowing you for the past few years, you don't take anything to the extreme. You find a way of bringing it back to the center. I'm guessing. So you have to tell me if I'm wrong or not. But hopefully you'll balance that out. School is, and all of that is biting at your heels again. So how was your week?
I feel good. I feel some envy that I'm not there with you. That would be exciting.
Yes, soon and very soon.
This week was good. It was busy. I started my internship like for real, and I had a bunch of therapeutic sessions with the students that are on my caseload, and it was really nice to get to know them a little bit more and to, just get a first glimpse of their personality and some
What
of
age
the
students? What
just
grade?
sweet little faces. They're kindergarten to sixth grade, so I have a range of students.
Oh,
So we'll
that's
see.
sweet. That's cool. That's cool.
They are really
Yeah,
in my mind this weekend.
that's good. Yes, I'm glad to hear we all get back into the routine again after the summer, after sabbatical, and get our wheels turning again. So I want to share something before we get started today that relates to what we're going to be talking about today. I rarely recommend a movie or a film, but I happen to, I think divinely led to a film that I watched this week. So I am highly recommending it. It's called Mully, Mully. And it's the story of a man named Charles Mully. It's set in the slums of Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, over the last 3 decades. And it's a narration of his life story and his journey. According to the film, something that was really heartbreaking for me is that there is 100,000 or more children who are abandoned and live on the streets in the slums. These are children, not just teenagers, but from infants on up. Either their parents died, or from fighting, from wars, or from sickness, or just abandoned out of poverty. And that 1 in 5 of those children that are on the streets will not live to see their 5th birthday. It's really, really heart-wrenching. But the story of Charles Mully is that he too was abandoned as a child by his parents. And he became a street kid and a beggar for up into his later teen years. And he did what he had to do to survive. And then he had a spiritual experience. He had an encounter with the divine, which changed the path of his life. That was the first one that really set him on another course in his life, which eventually led to him becoming one, if not the wealthiest man in Kenya, where he controlled the oil and gas to Western Kenya. But then after he became this wealthy man, he had this other, more deep encounter with God, this deeply spiritual experience, which radically changed his whole life, radically changed him. And from that point on, he went into what I call ministry. He stopped being an entrepreneur, and his life just changed. Many people thought he was crazy. They told him he was crazy. And from watching the film, you would think this man has to be crazy. Who's going to walk away from millions? Who's going to do this? Not in the, we don't see this happening. But it chronicles his story, how he changed his life, and he went back to save as many of those street children who was like himself as he could. It's really a deeply moving spiritual story. It's a story about forgiveness. It's a story about childhood trauma, and it's a story about evolving spirituality. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about evolving spirituality and reconnecting with your divine self. I'm going to have the pleasure of interviewing this young man here about something he shared with us, an experience he recently had. And we're going to have a conversation about it. So stay with us. Text a friend, let them know. We're live on Zoom, on Facebook, here at 1037 East 92nd Street. It is our aspiration that we will say something, that you will hear something, and that our gathering today will raise our collective vibration of love and unity throughout our community as we send healing, peace, and joy your way. As always, the Christ in me celebrates the Christ in you, and together we will make our world brand new. I'm going to pass it over to Brenda, who's going to lead us through our opening meditation, followed by opening prayer. If Minister Obina is on, he will share it. If not, Brenda, either you or I will do that. The scripture reading I can do, and then we're going to turn it over to Nadia for our quote and our 7 life affirming principles. Stay with us. We're looking forward to our conversation today.
All right. So as always, let's begin with a nice deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And just feel the relief of that. Take a few more nice deep breaths. And I encourage you, perhaps move your body along with it when you inhale and exhale. And let's do one more. Inhale and exhale. Today, for this opening meditation, I wanted to read a short prayer to you. I have it in Spanish. It's called Querida Madre, which means beloved mother. And this prayer is essentially addressing the creator of the heavens, the creator of the earth, planet Earth, and all the beings that exist, all the spirit guides, any divine power that you preach to, that you speak to, that you accept and give love to. So while I read, I encourage you to take a moment, relax, listen to the flow of the words, even if you don't understand them, and take a moment to connect to that divine being. And that divine being might just be yourself. Querida Madre, Criador de los cielos y la tierra, eres mi corazón de mis cielos, mi corazón de la tierra. Madre, nos creaste a tu imagen. Diosa de luz, yo soy la luz y tú eres mi guía. Mi corazón escucha tu voz en el viento, mientras camino por tu tierra, amada Madre. Limpiándome y limpiándome con tus aguas sagradas, agua dulce, agua salada, amarga y agria. Espíritu de las abuelas de las 4 direcciones, en oración, pidiendo al Espíritu de Fuego que me abra el camino para que mis palabras puedan ser recibidas. Ayúdanos, amada Criadora y Formadora. Te mando mis gritos, Espíritu de Abuela Luna, a medida que nos mueve a lo largo de los siglos. Parado aquí, ante ti con los brazos extendidos, conéctanos. Eres el centro del universo, como somos los seres de las 4 direcciones. Escúchanos, todos nosotros que representamos todos los colores del arco iris, somos sus hijos en nombre del gran misterio. Bendice a todos y cada uno, diosa mía. Ashe.
Ashe.
This prayer was written by Abu Flor de Mayo in February of 2020. And so again, this prayer inspired me, first of all, because it's Hispanic Heritage Month. I wanted to share a little bit of the Spanish language with you all. And again, to remind myself and you of your journey, of your spiritual journey and growth. And however you choose to define that journey is a really beautiful thing. The fact that we are here together every week, taking time to discuss and to learn and to be open to receiving like the beautiful blessings that come with community is just so beautiful. I'm like incredibly grateful for this. Let's finish off with another deep breath. And as you exhale, let out any kind of sound that feels good. In through the nose and out. You know? You know? So
That was beautiful, Brenda. I don't know, the Spanish language, but just the sound and the feel of what you were saying felt very inspiring. So thank you.
Sure. I'm going to pass it to Minister Albina if you're ready. I'll share the slide with the opening prayer for you to read.
Good morning, welcome. Good afternoon, Minister Albina.
Take it away. Opening prayer.
Thank you very much. Opening prayer. Let us pray. Unity of all, Antonio means clear the way in Lakota. Let us pray. God of surprises, you call us, the awareness of our traditions, to new ways of being church, from the captivities of our culture to creative witness for justice, from the smallness of our horizons to the brightness of your vision. Clear the way in us, your people, that we might call others to freedom and renewed faith. Clear the way in us, your people, that we might call others to wholeness and integrity. Great Spirit, you call us from fear to faithfulness, from order to clarity, from a desire to control to deeper trust, from a refusal to love to a readiness to risk. Clear the way in us, your people, that we might all know the beauty and power and danger of the gospel. Ashe.
Ashe.
Nice, thank you.
So I'll read the opening prayer scripture. Scripture reading for today is from the Gospel of John, chapter 4, verse 24, and it's from the Amplified Version. And it reads, God is spirit, the source of life, yet invisible to mankind. And those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. Ashe.
Matter is spirit moving slowly, enough to be seen by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. Triumph's seven life affirming principles. We affirm that life is in the bread and bread is life. Therefore, we join together to promote our shared humanity and inseparable bread. We affirm that we are born whole, complete as perfect manifestations of the universal mind. We affirm our physical bodies differ and as such may present different challenges, limitations, or privileges that everyone may not share in. Therefore, we join together to share our strengths and support one another where there may be weaknesses so that we all may enjoy the fullness of life. We affirm that our agreement is to pursue peace, walk in truth, and uphold justice tempered with mercy. We affirm that we are like branches on a tree. Although we may go in different directions, we share a common root, and as such, we pledge to respect each person's path, even as it may differ from one's own. We agree to walk in agreement that it is all right to disagree, and we protect and safeguard this right in so much as the state of disagreement upholds an affirmation of life. We affirm that community building is the process of communally shared principles, shared resources, as well as equitable access to resources. Therefore, we commit to being agents of an open culture that welcomes everyone to participate in the life of the community, with the provision that we also hold each other accountable for acts that do not support the life affirming principles of our awareness, while equally looking for and enacting a commitment to forgive and restore in the spirit of humility and love. Lastly, we affirm the earth and all that dwell therein are manifestations held within the universal mind, and humanity's role is to be faithful stewards of this earth by demonstrating respect and dignity for all beings, the sacredness of Mother Earth, and our commitment to caring for her as we care for ourselves.
Sure.
Thank you. All right.
So our sacred reading today were selected because they all, in some way, point to this notion of an experience of the divine on evolving spirituality. So we need some volunteer readers.
All right. I will read the first one.
Okay, Brenda's up for one. Do we have one for number 2 or 3? I can't read what's in the chat, so you have to let me know what they're saying.
Nadia says she'll read the third one.
Okay, great. So we need number 2. Minister Obina, would you read number 2?
Okay, I'll read number
And I'll read number 4. All right. So as always, Wes will lead out. We'll pause, and then we will have the reading, and then we'll go back to the music. Okay.
The Receptacle by Robert Graysack. It contains the secret of the ages. Written upon its indelible pages is the wisdom of 1,000 sages. Well and truly hidden it remains, and never can it bear blemish or stains. Only when the one concerned obtains, by dint of years-long persevering effort, the key to access it will be granted into its awesome reality. This mysterious place is not distant or of no consequence or irrelevant. It is so very real, so very near, and though so hidden, feels every joy, knows every sad tear. Man himself is the receptacle, and its altar is forever divinely lit. The place, his eternal purest spirit.
this invites to begin more. Light I saw came in many shades. Sometimes I was shocked to find that the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. Now I see the truth in all light. Now, through someone else's eyes, I observe that the shades were all mine and mine alone. Now I have done with shadows actually.
You who want knowledge, see the oneness within. There you will find the clear mirror already waiting. By How Do You Wish To?
A to Zen of Life by Dalai Lama. Avoid negative sources, people, places, and habits. Believe in yourself. Consider things from every angle. Don't give up and don't give in. Everything you're looking for lies behind the mask you wear. Family and friends are hidden treasures. Seek them and enjoy their riches. Give more than you plan to. Hang on to your dreams. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. Judge your success by what you had to give up in order to get it. Keep trying, no matter how hard it seems. Love yourself. Make it happen. Never lie, steal, or cheat. Open your arms to change, but don't let go of your values. Practice makes perfect. Quality, not quantity, in anything you do. Remember that silence is sometimes the best answer. Stop procrastinating. Take control of your own destiny. Understand yourself in order to better understand others. Visualize it. When you excellence in all your efforts. You are unique. Nothing can replace you. Zero on your target for it. A to Zen of Life, Dalai Lama. That was great, y'all. That was good.
Well, let's take a moment and reflect back on what we've just heard, the 4 sacred readings. If there's anything that anyone would like to speak on, anything that sparked them or moved them, feel free to unmute and share.
I would like to share about the number two, the second one I wrote. That is to his past to begin more. See, I have realized that it is a beautiful and uplifting spiritual poem conveying deep insights on life. It's an eye opener. It makes us to feel like all is well underneath all the noise. We deal with all the humanity's most basic central question by writing or reading poems. An expression of souls who are striving in the upward path. Reading a sacred poem like this is a time-honored spiritual practice, which inspires us about faith in God. And spirituality is the connection we feel to each other in a holistic, cosmic sense, whether it's God or Christ on the throne, Buddha or meditation in an ancient forest. We are all connected, and that connection brings a stronger power in it. Deep inside, we are all the same color, and our shared strengths, principles, humanity, mysteries are a testament to the truth inside the various scriptures. Really connects us with our spirituality. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. That was awesome.
Are there any other thoughts? Anything anyone would like to contribute or speak on?
I think I'll back in from the last one that I read. That was so rich with so much. But just a couple of things I want to just highlight from this one. When thinking about how we evolve, how we move through life, and how we live from that inner place of our own deep spirituality. One of the things that he shared in the beginning about just behavioral things was important. But the line that said, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. I really like that because sometimes we live our lives waiting for someone to give us something. And what it suggests is that, spiritually, the world is our garden, the universe is our garden. If we don't have vegetables there, plant some. If you don't have flowers there, plant some. If you don't have trees, plant some. It's rich and it's fertile. This notion takes back to my upbringing, my childhood. My mother was real big on that. Like I can hear there's always another. It seems like there's no window, no door, no way. There's always another way. You may not see it, but find it or make a. So that's really to not become defeated when opportunity doesn't come knocking. You can create the opportunity for yourself. That's why referring back to the film I talked about earlier, I really love that because that's what that gentleman did. And that's what so many of us do, I think, in our lives, especially when we're on this spiritual quest. That it talked about love yourselves. I also like the line where it says, open your arms to change, but don't let go of your values. And it's kind of tricky. I would like to hear what others have to say about that, because as we change, sometimes our values change. Sometimes, what I valued 30 years ago, my core values may be the same, but some of the things that I valued 30 years ago have shifted. And those aren't what I value now. As I'm evolving, things we evolve spiritually, what we value may also change. I'd like to hear what others think about that idea.
Right now, I feel like I'm at a time in my life where I'm experiencing this huge shift, because sometimes I see that I behave in ways that are not aligned with the values I've identified for myself. And then discovering that maybe I need to add in or create almost like new values that make more sense with where I'm at right now. But I definitely know there's this internal feeling when I'm really acting in a way that's just not aligned with my spirit and with my mission here. And so I guess that has been my internal compass And sometimes it's painful and sometimes it's embarrassing. And I have to like really step back and remember the bigger picture and remind myself of like, again, those core values and to be forgiving of myself. So
Yes.
that has been a huge challenge. But when I'm really able to clearly identify those things, it's like at least I have like a guide or something to turn to be like, okay, am I acting in a way that is aligned? And if it's no, then okay, what do I need to do to adjust?
Yes. And I think that's key, being willing to examine that and make those adjustments as needed on the journey. Thanks, Brenda, for sharing.
I also wanted to bring up that the third one that mentioned about like the mirror, like essentially when you are going on this kind of journey, how important it is to like really reflect and look at yourself, literally. Sometimes look at yourself in the mirror and see like, what are my facial expressions and how does my body look? And like, am I holding myself in a way that again also feels aligned, like externally when others feel my energy and when others see me, am I aligned? It also is really difficult, right? Because you could be super critical and look at that reflection and be like, ew, or not like what you see, or not want to see it. And we have like these filters. It's so easy to have a filter and look through this lens of like really critical or really judgmental, really victim vibes, you know? Because when you actually admit to yourself the things that you're experiencing, the things that you're doing, it can really be like earth shattering.
Yes.
So
True.
I really appreciated thinking about the mirror.
Yes.
As an analogy for spiritual growth.
Mm-hmm.
Would anyone else like to speak on any of the readings or anything that comes to mind?
I would like to talk about the third one by the which it teaches us why we need to learn discern the truth through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, which is a proven source of guidance. Rather than relying on logical reasoning or through our rational minds, we should seek a spiritual knowledge through principles. As Christians are called to communicate with the Spirit of God. It is our right and it's our critical and it's very critical to our spiritual survival. The pursuit of knowledge should be the near top list of our priorities, and it's within us. The person aspiring to seek knowledge should, as the first step, undergo spiritual purification. It must be acknowledged that the Holy Spirit is inside a believer, but the believer either does not know it, or he or she fails to obey. That's what I have to say.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, Brenda, if there's no one else, I think we can get ready to move on because I'm excited to get into the conversation with Wes. If you just want to put up that slide a minute, I'm going to change my seat and I'm going to move over to the sofa so we can have a more intimate conversation. And I'll be right back with you. Give me a moment.
Well, welcome to those who just joined the room. What's up? We are about to get into conversation with Miss Reverend Sandra and Wesley, our musical director. They're both there in person in the Brooklyn location, which is super cool. So we'll hear a little bit from them today. I want to give you a heads up. Sometimes the Wi-Fi seems like in and out.
Okay.
I can basically hear you, but there's moments that the video is a little frozen. So if you hear me just being like, caca, that's why.
All right, like just lift your hand or, something, so you know that you're not hearing us.
Okay.
I'm gonna put this, I think.
It's usually like only like 2 or 3 seconds at a time, and then it comes back in, so. Okay.
All right, so can you see us okay? You can see us okay?
Yes, we can see you. I'll take
Great,
down
great.
the slide.
All right, so I am excited to have this conversation with Wesley, and especially that we are here at 1037 East 92nd Street, and that's because in October of 2019. So it is back talking about
The message, the dash.
right. We're looking for a musician or a band to play for our opening. And that's how, I don't know, just other people had responded, but there was just something about Wesley's response that was just kind of plain and simple and straightforward that I just connected with. And we've been connected ever found out that there were some mutual friends that were here that we had. So it's really great, and I'm excited to have this conversation. This conversation is important to me because I'm a little older than you, and I've been older, but that's not always an indication to where someone is at in their spirituality. But I know I had an encounter, and it shifted me. And something I can always put into words.
The Wi-Fi is going in and out a little bit, so it's hard to hear.
Okay. Let me see if I can maybe shift it to, I was going to try to shift it to the laptop instead of.
Yeah, like maybe if you just use one device, that's slow.
Okay.
There's a little message.
All right.
So let's see.
Okay, how many tabs? Let's take this one off. Just give us a moment.
That's okay. You look beautiful.
Is the sound better?
The sound is a little bit lower. So if anything, you can pull the mic if there is a mic closer to you.
Yeah.
But it sounds good in the sense that it's not lagging. Thanks for your patience, everyone.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we're just trying to reconnect the mic. That may help. Okay. All right.
It definitely helped with the lagging. It seems to be good.
It does seem to be good.
Like y'all are flowing now.
Yeah, I'll try to hold that one.
But I think it's
I was thinking, I don't know if you have a USB mic, but there was a part of my head, I was like, that would be perfect.
better now. It's too low.
Speak more.
Hello, hello.
Oh, it's great.
Okay.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
I put like
Okay.
just okay.
All righty, so,
Yay, thank you.
good. Because we don't want anyone to miss any of this. This is very important. All right, so just put that back over. Okay, so you can see us okay, and the sound is good. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go back because we want to make sure we have enough time. But Wes shared with us a couple of weeks ago, over doing the sabbatical, we had a month off. And we all were kind of doing our own thing. But Wes had shared with me before we came back, I was asking him about an event that he was scheduled to play at in California. And I was excited to hear about that, but clearly there was something else that had happened that had overshadowed that for him. So I want him to just share more with that. But before you get into that experience, just kind of walk us through how you saw your relationship with spirituality and the divine, say from your childhood coming up in church, or what was kind of the context for your own spirituality?
Yeah, I was raised in a church, a Protestant church that was like very conservative. That they gave me a lot of love. There was a lot of love there. You know, a lot of beautiful. I learned music at this church, and that was very beautiful. But also, I think the way I would see things, I wouldn't connect with everything. And then when I didn't connect with some of the things that I heard, you feel that you are not part of it, but you are part of it because I was raised there, right? So, and then you need to get the approval, but you're not gonna have that approval, and so that made me never really get into spirituality because I was just like, how am I gonna like be spiritual if I cannot be myself? Like how, like how can I? How can I trust these people that they can, even if I could see their love, but the differences, right? So I think I blocked myself from spirituality since I was a kid.
Well, the one line really struck me. Can I be spiritual if I can't be myself?
Yeah.
That's just very, very profound. And I don't know that most of us that are religiously oriented get that. Because we seem to often be trying to change ourselves and be something else to be more what God wants us to be, rather than looking at God really wants me to be myself.
Yeah.
So that was really insightful for you to even feel that, I think.
Yeah. I think the vision of God that they taught me, and that's how they could see it too. That's the way they see it wouldn't make sense to me because the way they would picture God to me was just a guy full of mistakes. There's like a lot of authority, a lot of rules. And I was just like, it doesn't seem like that. Somebody that's spiritual and divine would be something like that. It never made sense to me. That's what made me go away from, and that was actually, I think my journey to my spirituality was when I left that church. And
you were a teenager and young adult?
I was like 17 when I had like a not very good experience when I came to church, I think with like this new guitar or something. And they got bothered by the guitar that I had because they said that I was trying to copy the outside world.
That's interesting.
I was looking for fame and and my ego and stuff like that. And I remember that's when they kept like making this sermon like about me, like everybody woke up and was just saying, the pastor was just saying stuff about me, right? And I was just like, I think that's it, and then when everybody closed their eyes to pray, I left.
Time to go.
Yeah, and then I left. Of course, my mom everybody got very sad. And then later on, because I think my mom was like going through some sort of bullying because her kid left in the middle when the pastor was saying I was a rebel, the word. I kind of had to go to this church again and ask for pardon or
for forgiveness.
for forgiveness.
Wow.
And I remember,
and you did that?
I remember myself going to the church and asking for these people that I did nothing wrong, but I had to say sorry. And then I did this just to clean it up. But
did you do that for your mother because you knew it hurt your mother?
I think it was mix of both, right? I think like, am I wrong? You don't know. You just like kind of do that. Oh, but I also felt that my mom, they would like me to do that. It was this mixed feelings, so that was when and then I moved to the US. After that, it's been like, so around 17 to 18 years, I got out of my spiritual side. I blocked it. I was calling myself an atheist.
So literally, you just said, I don't believe in God anymore.
Yeah. It was like I'm an atheist. Because that would avoid problems. Even if I even really believe or not, and just would avoid the problems, I was just like, well, I'm an atheist. And that's when people stop. All the time when somebody would talk to me and say, I'm an atheist, they would go away and my life would be better.
Don't even try.
Yeah. That was, I still do that sometimes. When somebody says, I'm an atheist, and they go away. So, not even that I know that I believe it or not. So that's what I did. And then I moved to the US and I started working for this church that's also very corrupt. And I think I'm not gonna say names, but I think they do like laundry money and stuff, and that was
a church in Brooklyn.
it was a Brazilian church that is in Queens. And it was not, and I remember one day, on a Christmas day, the last day, like the pastor embarrassed like everyone there, saying a lot of things and judging these people. I was like, I'm going to this again, I'm in the US. And then that's when I say, like, I don't want any relationship with church in my life. But that was when I left.
So that's so interesting. So when I put that ad and you responded to the ad, nothing went up red flag. Like, I ain't gonna have nothing to do with those folks.
Yeah, what I had in my mind is said, like, well, they need the music. I come from this place, so I know church music, so I'm gonna go and work. That's what I did. It's like, well, I'm gonna go and just work. I'm just gonna do my professional, job. That's
really compartmentalize it. I can do this here, and that has nothing to do with.
Yeah, and then I was also like, okay, it's an American church, so it might be different. I had a good experience with another church in Jersey. They were very nice. So they do a beautiful thing there. But it's still when the time that you were different, that's when things.
When you're different from what their expectations of you are.
That's when the problem comes. It's when, when you don't really say, like, well, I don't really believe this. That's when your problem starts. And then I was like, oh man, it's the same thing again, right? But when I came to Triumph, I came just for work, right?
Yeah.
But
we thought it was going to be like a one event. I didn't even know when I reached out to you that it was going to be ongoing.
Yeah, and then the thing that was interesting is when I came here, so we have this indigenous tribe here, like people singing, and I think more different people are different kind of groups.
Yes.
And that's when I was like, what's going on here? That's when I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Is this some sort of devil? Like the devil term? You know what I mean?
And that's what some people think about us, believe it or not.
Yeah, I was like, well, I don't believe the other church, but the other church doesn't support that. So my mind was very confused.
Like, these people, what are they doing here?
That's like, I was just like, well, because when I left church, I could get into the culture of my country. The culture of my country is very racist. The church in Brazil is very racist. They wanna lock down the African roots. And Brazilians, we are all African, right? So and then I couldn't know my own culture. I couldn't play samba when I was in church. I couldn't play anything that was Afro related. And then, when I came here, I was like, wait a minute. I know this Afro part because I left church. But now the church is in the Afro thing. What's going on here? And
yeah, it certainly was. I mean, we all remember that day. It was such a celebratory day, and it was intentionally diverse because we wanted to bring in the roots of this community, Canarsie, which is Native American, and we also wanted to bring in the roots of our particular a church which was rooted in the African tradition. So we had all of that mixed in with different flavors, and some folks were like, yo, those folks are devil worshipers, or whatever. But that doesn't bother us. We have thick skin here. So very, very interesting. I know that there's some of us maybe that can relate to your church experience. I'm going to ask those of you that have questions to either put them in the chat or hold them, because I want to get into, so it's been 3 years now, just about, since we've met. And we had fellowship here. We'd always talk, and we've had so many wonderful experiences together, just learning the music. But I've never had a conversation with you about, well, what do you believe? Or do you believe in God?
Right.
Et cetera,
That
et
was
cetera.
interesting to me, because I was like, well, she's not asking if I'm gonna, accept or not, and sign the paper, and then I'm gonna be accepted here. That was very interesting. It was just like, what's going on?
You waiting for the hammer to drop. Okay, now.
Yeah, they're gonna have this 80s playing here, and they are fine with that. That was very interesting. Yeah, that was very interesting.
So, but our energy, at least as we reopened, my energy and the focus, my husband and I and our new team, and the way we rebooted Triumph, was that my biggest concern was that this would be a safe and sacred space for people to find their own way, not for someone to tell them their way, but them to find their own way. Because I've had experiences like you, grew up in church, where, it's an awful thing where you're sitting in a church and the minister is throwing darts at you. That's, those of us that grew up in church, we understand that. It's a very painful thing. And then to stay there, because you have mixed emotions, because these are people, family, people you love. And
They
so
love you too.
they love you too.
That's the way. That's the way to share love.
Yeah, they beat up on you.
Yeah.
And that's how they show love to you.
Yeah.
They call you out, they embarrass you. But that's the way they learned
They
it.
want you to walk in what they call
Their
life.
way.
Yeah.
Their way. And by forcing you into a path that they believe is right, they think is what's best for you. So hold your questions if you have some on that. And I want you to get into now, what happened? I don't know, what over the 3 years, were you leading up to this, or was it just this one moment, something that just recently happened to you?
Yeah, I think that when I left, that moment when I left church was the moment that I started looking for my spiritual side. When I stopped saying the name God.
When you stopped saying the name God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's now that I see that when my journey started.
Wow.
Because then I was
that is just like, those are tweetable moments. I think that's what they call it. When I stopped saying the name God is when my spiritual journey began. Whew.
Yeah, at least that's how I felt.
That sounds like, those that may be watching us on social media, just stay with us, hang in here. We're not some Looney Tunes.
Yeah, but
we're going somewhere with this.
Yeah, so that's, and then I did all the experimental things that I had to do, and of course I would have guilt from that.
And guilt is the residue of all the things you've learned in church religiously, what this God expected of you or wanted you to
It's
do.
unconsciously, like it's
Subconsciously.
You just have this. Might come from so many things. Might become a little bit from the church, a little bit from the country that I was in, the neighborhood. It was a mix of things, but I wouldn't start experimenting, living what I think that I had to, but I would always get the guilt. And then I moved here, and then I did these experiences with this church, and then I felt like don't want to do church anymore. But then I start coming here, and very weirdly, that's gonna sound weirdly, but I start like meeting all these sort of people in New York, different people from everywhere, conservative, far left, far right, all kinds of. I eventually, and then I'm seeing something, and it was just like, everybody's saying something that kind of makes sense, but we are all fighting with each other. Yeah. And then I was just like, okay. And then I had little experiences with weed. It was very interesting. I never did anything in my life because I thought that was wrong. And I started having some experience, and that thing was opening things in me. I was just like, what's going on? I would feel guilty about it. But that was taking me to see things. And that's when I started
doing psychologist. I went to the psychologist because I want to save a relationship that I was in.
Mhm.
I was to this marriage that something wasn't going on. I started going to the psychologist. Going to the psychologist, oh, I think that's when I start for the first time. I experiment like marijuana, and that was very interesting because it started like taking me be sensitive to a spiritual side that I was like, wait, I don't have a spiritual side. But it was very weird because nobody's gonna understand that. If I tell that to my parents, they're gonna go away. Probably a lot of people might get scared when I'm saying that. But that the psychologist started touching me, and I think the way you guys were like also exposing your ideas was like what's going on? Like and that's when I, last month, and then I started playing for an ayahuasca ceremony as a musician. So look at me, I do the country gig in Jersey. I play for Triumph Live Center. I play for all these kind of things down at the ayahuasca ceremony, playing for a shaman. It wasn't Santo Daime, it was just, indigenous related medicine like that's, and that's to me was the deepest level from my church that they would go, right? I am with the shaman, so I am with the devil. You know what I mean?
You
I
really went, you really went
am like,
all the way.
I am all the way there. So I'm like, if my parents see that, they're gonna like, I lost my kid, right? But interesting. And then I had that, and I felt that to, I saw beautiful things there happening. And I started crying and I couldn't stop crying. I saw people talk in tongues. And I was just like, what's going on? I saw that in church. People talk tongues there. I didn't believe when I was in church. But why they are talking in tongues right here? I saw people saying that they were reborn. I was just like, I heard people saying they were reborn, but it didn't make sense to me when I was in church. And now I see these people
Totally not related to church.
not God in there.
Yeah. Mhm.
No religion in there. And the same things are happening. There is one guy that started talking the way that you used to call in church that the devil was speaking. You know what?
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys say in English, but when you have the voice and start talking, there is one person that was who said that. And I was just like, wait a minute. I know that.
Yeah, you experienced it before.
I said,
Seen it before.
I asked the shaman, I was just like, what's going on? I want to see his. And he kind of also didn't want to, he was like, every people is you. I was just like, wait, he's open-minded, but something's going on. That was like, and then I decided to have the ayahuasca. And then I had it. And the interesting part, I had to go back to my childhood and that experience. And that experience made me forgive my church.
Wow.
Right? So I had to go back there. And it was just showing me all the love from everyone.
So that process of forgiveness of your church, was that a releasing of, what they had projected onto you, and what was that like?
I think it's because I think I had hate towards church, right? I think I had hate, a lot of hate from church. But that medicine that's nothing related with church took me there and said, like, listen, something here showed, like you can see in third person, people giving love to me, and I was just seeing the love that they gave to me, not the trauma that I had. And I started like, and then I was in a beautiful relationship again with my parents again, like things that I still had a little bit, because they put me in church, so
Yeah. They did this to you.
so I was just,
Yeah.
I was like a lot of trauma from them. I was just like, well, even if they love them, but
Yeah.
I still had this, And the interesting part, I really suffered when I had to forgive myself.
Wow.
And then when
What were you forgiving yourself for?
that's the thing, I never even know what this guilt is coming from. I just had
Where
the
the guilt
guilt.
was coming.
My psychologist is telling me this, like, you have guilt, that why you have this? And I
Deep
don't,
city deep-seated guilt that you don't even know why you're.
I don't
feeling
even think that I did something wrong. I don't say, okay, so you know, what you did that was wrong. I don't even actually know what is wrong. But I felt like, so if my life was going well, I would feel weird. It was just like, whoa, why everything is going well? A lot of people are suffering.
Mhm. Oh, mhm.
And then I would enjoy when I think it's good. And I was like very afraid of dying. Always afraid if I do something bad to you, I think you would kill me. I had all these things. But that medicine, that call medicine, whatever you want to call, made me see the divine again and the eternal life again.
Mm.
And it's hard to say this fast in this way, but that was the journey. I had to go there. And then when I had to now, okay, now you forgive yourself. That's I suffered for like another week after that.
Mm.
Until I could see myself and like, listen. And then all of the sudden, like now when people from church talk to me, my parents, I use the names that they wanna hear.
Mm.
My dad's going through a bad moment now. It's very complicated moment. He's gonna do a heart surgery. And what I was talking about him is God. Because I know
You
that's
could do
what
that. So you can say the name, you can say God and talk about God, and it doesn't create any adverse
Because-
reaction in you now.
because now I believe it.
Mm.
But I don't believe that there was a Jehovah that people told me it's
Yeah.
only. Because okay, it might be Jehovah for many people,
Mhm.
but for others, because that was my question when I was younger. I was like, okay, so the other part of the world that wasn't raised there, they all gonna go to hell?
Right, right.
I was like, it doesn't make sense. It
Right.
never made sense. And now I just see that, and for some reason, I felt that here you got the way you guys go through everything that you do. It's just like, oh, I think they're talking the same language, and the same language was the same language of the shaman.
Mm.
They now are doing a ceremony only for 3 people.
Mm.
They're saving, like they're giving love,
Reaching out to them.
reaching
Yeah.
out to them, and they are really looking like this guy. He was a rich guy, this shaman. He left all of that
Mhm.
to do this,
Wow.
and I was just like,
Kind of like the character in the movie
The-
I was talking
yeah,
about.
exactly.
Yeah,
He was from Wall Street, you know.
yeah.
And now he's, he went to Amazon and stayed there months learning.
You found
And
his calling.
and I was just, and then it's complicated to say, but all that experience just made me like come back. So I don't call me. Sometimes I'm say when I see that somebody's being
You just want to push them away.
okay, I made this just to make the convenience, but no. So now I accept the pray again.
Wow.
And
Now you pray.
I pray, yeah. I pray. I pray again. It's I don't know. I know that might be very weird for many people. I already understand that might sound very weird for many people. People in my church, I remember they say like, "Oh, we are crazy, right? We are crazy." And now I understand because I'm crazy again, like
You're crazy
But now I feel that I'm crazy. But for the first time, I'm crazy and I am myself. And I was just
You're
like, yes,
yourself crazy.
yeah,
Not someone else's crazy.
that's me. It's my crazy.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna we can just keep going on and on. This is so fascinating. But Brenda, I'm gonna turn it over to you. And any questions that you may have or anyone in the Zoom room for Wes I want you all to just jump in on this. Wes said so much. And again, this could go on and on and on, but we want to just open it up for those that are with us to ask questions, to respond, to have comments.
I guess what I took from this is how this journey is evolving. It's ever evolving. And it's comforting and validating to hear about your experience, Wesley, because I feel a similar way, I suppose, in the sense that I've kind of flip-flopped, gone up and down and back and forth, and at times also feel a little like crazy, a little loopy. Really, in moments of intense stress, I turn to my spiritual beliefs to help guide me and to regulate me. And I think sometimes people around me are like, you sound so like hippy dippy or loopy. I don't know, maybe that's just what I'm perceiving. But it's comforting. I also was thinking about like, okay, the main differences between religion and spirituality, and how do you define that for yourself? That's something I'm still learning. I still feel very intimidated in a religious environment because I wasn't raised with those traditions, or I don't really know what is expected of me, or if I adhere to everything that I've learned about. But when I think about spirituality, it feels a little more approachable, I suppose. And I've learned a lot through Triumph about spiritual development. So I wonder how do y'all define the religion versus the spirituality? Are they, I don't know, are they together? Are they separate? Are they opposites? What do you think?
You're asking us here, those in the Zoom room.
I guess anyone, whoever wants to answer.
So for you, Wes, how do you differentiate religion from spirituality at this point, having gone through all of this? So you were raised, in a religious organization, and then you left that, and you said your spirituality, you didn't think you had any, but now you've come somewhat full circle. So do you see a difference between religion and spirituality?
I think the religion is a tool that has a lot of power to make you get into your spirituality.
Mhm.
But because become how is the institution,
Mhm.
it has to have rules.
Yeah.
And these rules is when we go away from the spirituality.
Yeah.
And that's when the church that I came from, the Jesus that they said, was the guy that was going against that.
Yes. Yeah.
And that never made sense to me. It was like, because Jesus is very beautiful.
Mhm.
Jesus never said anything that I don't agree with.
Mhm.
And he was the one against all these rules.
Yes, against the religious order, against that institution.
So I think we can find religions are beautiful because there they have all the tools for us to
Mhm.
connect.
Mhm.
But because of the rules, we lose the connection. Sometimes some people they are connected. So I think so I think they walk kind of together. But if we are not connected, we might lose the balance.
Yeah, when I like how you said religion is a tool. The tool is an object, it's an instrument that we can use to another end, but it's not the end. And I think when we make religion the end, the institution, the church, the end is when we fall, is when we fail. You can use the hammer to build the house, but the hammer's not the house.
We lose empathy.
We lose.
Because now I'm like, I'm preaching my religion.
Yes.
And not like the spiritual side of it. That's how I feel,
Yeah.
I don't think they are wrong,
Right.
but so now I take a little bit of religion too.
Yeah.
I can go to Umbanda, take a little bit from there, I can go to the regular church, can go a little
That
bit
was
of
super
everything.
helpful.
Hits me up.
It's
Yeah.
interesting to think of it that way. I appreciate that. Sometimes those tools or those practices and rituals that you adhere to can bring you closer to divinity, or it can kind of take away, distract you from it, and separate and divide community. Both and.
We're almost out of time, but if there's anyone else on that would like to make a comment or share something with Wes, please just unmute yourself and come on in. I can't see who else is on, Brenda, so you just let us know. We don't want to belabor it. Reverend
Beverly's here. Nadia, Minister Obina. Bandoli was here, but had to peace out.
So this has been great. I really appreciate you sharing your experience. And I know it's only just a little capsule of your journey. I know that it's, the day-to-day expression and how you walk that out and work that out is far bigger than what you can really put into a conversation. But I appreciate you and I appreciate your journey. That we here at Triumph has been able to be a part of this with you, just observing it as an observer somewhat, and how you blessed us through your music and through your presence and through sharing in our gatherings from time to, even in our fellowship when we would be here each week. That was so enriching. The after service, I would call it, after the cameras went off and we were just all kind of sitting around together, just sharing, is how we got to know each other. And that was
That's
a
how I
part of
learned you're
all of
so
our-
funny.
Right?
Wesley has a great sense of humor.
Great sense of humor, great sense of humor. And I think it's so important also in our spirituality and our journey. We're gonna have to stop here, but again, thank you, Wes. Any final thoughts, anything that you, I don't know if we want to say advice or any words you would give to someone who would say stuck in a place? Maybe they were raised in religion and they walked away from it. They don't want anything to do with that. Maybe they never had no experience with that. Anything that you would share with someone finding really in this search to kind of find themselves in a spiritual place? Anything you would share with them?
Yeah, the first thing is like, you know what, I don't think I'm an example for anything, but I my own thing is just like, I think we all know deep what we believe, right? We all know a little bit what we believe, and sometimes we are scared.
Mhm.
And I think I would just like look at yourself inside of yourself, and you haven't answered that because the gods, or whatever you want to say, it's talking right there, right? It's talking right there. It's gonna be hard to express that, but I think I would keep going, expressing what God's telling you, because He tells everyone in a different way. I think that's the only thing I would say. I had to find God living Jesus.
You had to find each other. Mhm.
I had. I'm not gonna say sorry for who doesn't agree with me, because I don't think I'm wrong.
Mhm.
But I also have empathy to understand that you might not understand what I'm saying.
Right, right. And we know that at different times and stages in our life, we can hear and see and receive and perceive different things. So we're always empathetic where others are on their journey. We're fellow travelers.
Yeah, just
Let's
let's follow our,
follow.
instinct, our hearts, our spiritual side. We all have.
Yeah, and keep listening. I like that you said that. The gods are teaching us. They're talking to us. They're leading us. We have to listen and we have to follow. So again, I wanted to give a shout out to Wesley. Thank you so much. This has enriched me. Brenda, we're gonna go just quickly to our, let's do the segue out. We wanna, because this is about evolving spirituality and reconnecting, we wanna just put a seal on this. So I'll turn it over to you to do a closing. If you want to do the affirmations, and I'm going to come back and we'll do the announcements, and then Weston will close us out with some of his music. And when we close it, we didn't get a chance to talk about the music piece, so we'll do that another time. That's so much a part of who you've become for us now, not just playing for us, but being a part of the music ministry that we are producing here.
Yeah, I feel that now. For the first time, I think it's meaningful what I'm doing. I thought it was meaningful. Of course, it was, but now I just have some more purpose. It's for me.
Wow. Go ahead, Brenda.
I will share some affirmations today. We haven't done this in a minute. So feel free to repeat, feel free to speak it in your head, however you feel comfortable. And I encourage you, take a nice deep breath as always. I am a divine being. I am here to experience my human life. The entire universe is conspiring for my wellness. I have opened the doors for my well-being and reconnecting with divinity. I am open to giving, and I am open to receiving. I am being guided by my inner spiritual self. This spiritual journey is purifying my soul and my heart. I am loved and cared for by the divine. There is abundant love flowing through me, and I am attracting abundant love and abundant happiness. I am being guided toward enlightenment, and I am always anchored in love. Thank you. All right.
As
So,
we move to our announcements, I just want to give those that may be watching us via social media, live, or at another time on YouTube, an opportunity to support this ministry. First, for those of you that have supported us over the last several years, we want to just say thank you. We're very grateful for your donation and for how you lift us up in prayer and keep us keep sending positive energy our way. If you have never donated, this may be the time for you to consider making a donation. We're moving into the end of the year. We'll begin soon our end of the year fundraising. So it's a great time for you to think about making Triumph one of your nonprofits, faith communities that you support. You can donate via Cash App, which is $Triumph 2020. You can donate through PayPal, through our email, triumphchurchpsc@gmail.com, by snail mail, by mailing a check or money order to Triumph the Church of the New Age, P.O. Box 2157, Newark, New Jersey, 07114. And you can also do it via invoice. So you can, we can send you an email us, we can send you an invoice, and then you can use your credit or debit card to make a donation. You can make a one-time donation, or you can make a pledge that you will support us on an ongoing basis. Again, for all of those who have continued to support us, we say thank you. We're so grateful for you because your donations, your contribution help us to continue to do what we do, creating a safe and sacred space for all of us to find our way.
thank you. Moving forward, just a reminder, some of the music that we've releasing and will be releasing, the next is coming out on October 7th. It's called Just Be Me. We also have a song called Ser la Brisa, which is something that I sang. And we have another song called Together We Stand, which recently came out earlier this month. So if you'd like to listen, you can find it on YouTube, on iTunes, on Spotify, on Apple Music, and other streaming platforms. Take a listen and let us know what you think. There is a newsletter that will be coming out, a virtual newsletter on October 7th. Again, the same time, more or less, as the new music that's coming out as well. We also invite you, if there's anything you'd like to share in the newsletter, any stories, any quotes, any advertisements even, feel free, let us know. And you can email us at triumphlifecenter@gmail.com. As always, you can find us on social media platforms, especially YouTube, where you can find some of the past recordings that we have, including this one. So thank you, community, for coming through. Lots of love. We have our final words to live by of the week. I guess we'll get a closing jam from Wes. And if there's any final words that you'd like to say over there.
Brenda, just before we do, we just want to give a shout out to Senior Bishop, who's now sitting in the soft chair with Wes.
Hey!
Thank you, everybody. We're just so grateful for him being here with us and having supported this transition in Triumph for these past 3 years, for being the spiritual energy behind what we do and how we do it, and just giving his seal of approval for moving into this safe and sacred space. So thank you, Bishop. Thank you so much.
May God bless you and keep you.
Thank you.
The words to live by this week. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Ooh. Yes, yes, it's nice to hear you sing. Okay, I will share our closing prayer and then we will say goodbye. As always, let us pray. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end war, for we know that you have made the world in a way that people must find their own path to peace within themselves and with their neighbors. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end starvation, for you have already given us the resources with which to feed the entire world if we would only use them wisely. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to root out prejudice, for you have already given us eyes with which to see the good in all people if we would only use them rightly. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end despair, for you have already given us the power to clear away slums and to give hope if we would only use our power justly. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end disease, for you have already given us great minds with which to search out cures and healing if we would only use them constructively. Therefore, we pray to you instead, O God, for strength, determination, and willpower to do instead of just pray, to become instead of merely to wish. Ashe.
Pray and amen.
Ooh.
Love you all. See you next week. Be well.
True. Enjoy the afternoon.